My lords, ladies and gentlemen, very warm welcome back to Transport Fever 2 and episode 11 of the passenger only series. Now this episode is going to be a little bit different from the others so far, and I'll explain the reason for that right away. This is a re-record of episode number 11, and rather than being a copy of what episode 11 was, because I obviously saved my progress after the initial recording attempt for episode 11, well, the recording just didn't come out too well. I'm not sure what went wrong, but as I watched the playback after it had finished processing and rendering, the frame rate was just absolutely diabolical, especially when panning and moving the camera around. It wasn't watchable. So I'm going to have to do it again. But as I said, because I'd saved the game after I'd done the first recording effort, well, we won't be able to repeat what we've done because it's already been done and it's been saved. So what we'll do today is have a look at what we missed due to the recording or the rendering issues. So first of all, you can see this is looks like a new station, but in fact it is actually Thurrock Station. What I did, this was off camera by the way, this was after episode 10 had concluded. I determined that the King's Cross Station building just didn't really fit in with the rest of the station after we changed the roof. So I've replaced the King's Cross Station frontage with the one for Euston Station. That meant, that meant I should say, that the bus stop that we had that was had a direct connection to Euston Station, well, that connection was broken and it just wasn't working. So what I've had to do, and again this was all done off camera, is I run a road across the front of Euston Station for a connection, and then we have an offset bus stop as we can see right here on the screen in front of us. What I then did is put those two little small roads, you can see one in the pretty much middle of the screen where the people are walking right now, just so the passengers can get from the buses and to the trains and vice versa without having to walk all the way around. It just shortens their journey time quite considerably. So this is all working a-okay now, no dramas with this. There are a few little issues when they what's the word I'm looking for, transition from the road to this new bus station that we've constructed. As they walk onto the bus station, they attempt to do some sort of Michael Jackson Thriller dance, and hopefully we'll see that in a moment. And as we can see right now, when they disembark the bus, rather than walking along the length of the bus platform, they just materialise on the end, right on the pavement. So I'm not sure what's happened there. I tried a few things to get rid of that, but it just wasn't having it, so we're just going to have to deal with that and live with that, unfortunately. So what happened in the botched attempt to record episode 11, or the original episode 11 should I say? Well, what I did is I extended our main line from Poole up to Dunstable. So we can see the fruits of my labour here. So this was all done on camera in that botched recording attempt. So we now leave Poole. We have the usual random style crossovers and the likes rather than using the diamonds, and then we have to climb this very, very steep hill, and the only way I could get it to work and look reasonably okay was using this quite long bridge. So that spans almost the entire length from Poole to Dunstable, and as we approach Dunstable we level off somewhat and then we head into the station. What I did to construct this station is I had to demolish a bit of the town. It did spread about this far roughly, so we've removed some of that, put in our station and got our incoming and outgoing tracks laid down, so when they do start to rebuild we've already claimed the land that we need. And much like at Poole, we've just got the random mishmash of crossovers and switches so we can gain access to all of the platforms. So that's pretty much all that was missed. There was one train modification which I shall demonstrate for you if we can find it on the network. The Poole to Carlisle Express service now has a new locomotive. We've got rid of the Mallard And if we can just find it, where are you? So yeah, not this, you must be down Carlisle. Where have I just gone? No, I thought I'd seen one there. Is it you? No, you're one of the mainline trains. Here it is, it's a diesel. So we've swapped out the Mallard and we have this diesel running the service instead. It gets 87 miles an hour, so we haven't lost any speed, but we have gained a small amount of acceleration. I think we get to top speed maybe about 5 to 10 seconds faster than we would do with the Mallard. In terms of its running costs, it's only an extra couple of, I think it was only about an extra less than 100,000 extra per year. I can't quite remember. So we're not paying too much extra, and we are gaining a little bit on the old acceleration. So this service has now had a diesel engine to replace the Mallard. Other than that, I don't think there was anything else that we went through on episode 11, or episode 11 part 1 I should say. So now we're ready to just pick up where I had left off. So yeah, actually we can't repeat the build process because it's all done, and like I said, I had saved the game unfortunately, and then after I rendered, like I said, it just wasn't watchable. So we're just going to have to pick it up from here, and you're going to have to use your imagination for this build process, but really, it wasn't too much. It's a fairly short distance between Poole and Dunstable, so I'm sure we can just press on. So our final stop on the main line is going to be here in Wigan. Now we need to figure out where we want to have our station in Wigan. It's going to be a terminus station because we are at the very northern end of the map in Wigan. And initial thoughts are I'd have it here on this road, and then obviously it would be oriented in a north-south direction, so it would be extending this way. It does mean we'd have to get rid of pretty much all of this here on the eastern side of this road right here. That shouldn't be too much of a problem. We had to do something similar in Lowestoft, and they managed to rebuild quite nicely. And then we'll run the line up here and into Wigan. I think terrain heights were pretty much exactly where we need to be. We can see the city of Wigan off in the distance there, and it doesn't seem like it's elevated or dropped down by any great amount, so we shouldn't have as many issues as I had attempting to build this, because if we get down to Poole we can see, you know, from here just how far we're having to climb, and we do have that restricted track gradient mod enabled, so it really was a bit of a challenge to get this put in and have it looking at least somewhat passable. But that's all done and dusted now, so we can turn our attention to Wigan and get our main line finished off. So the first thing we'll do, like I said, is just demolish all of this on the eastern side of the town. It's all got to go. They can rebuild it once we're done, of course, but for now it just needs to go. And we'll put in our station building here. We'll have the blue trim, large building size, and 4 tracks and 240 meters long canopy high speed. And as I said, if we had it here, nestled against that road there, we'd have it running in a north-south orientation, and then we have plenty of space here as we come out of Wigan to get all of our approach tracks lined up and correct. So let's do the approach tracks here and now. So we'll just run our first track out, and we'll keep it level in terms of its gradient, and we'll keep it straight as well. It's always easier to work with straight track. And we need to get all of this joined up. Now, because this is not going to be a through station for the main line, because it's the end of the line, we are going to need to make sure we have all 4 platforms open and available. And what I mean is at some of our other stations, the ones at the midpoints, we've been able to get away with no crossovers on certain platforms because we're having a northbound and southbound. Obviously that's not going to be the case here at Wigan, so they are going to have to turn around. So every platform needs to be able to get onto the tracks as it leaves in the southbound direction. So we'll have to bear that in mind as we get this constructed. And what I'm going to do here is have another set of straight tracks there. That makes it easier when it comes to placing the signal gantries afterwards. And then we need to get everything brought in together. So what we'll do is we'll run you out to about there, 80 mph. Bring you alongside. So I think we'll have platform 1 as the... oh, no, in fact that's platform 4. What I might do is run another track down here on the outer edge. Can we do that without having to demolish anything? Let's just see. It looks like we should be able to squeeze this in. Oh, nope. It won't squeeze in there. So we'll have to do a little bit of city planning by getting rid of some of those residences right there. But I want to have a platform down there, and this will be our mainline platform, which is now platform 5. And then we'll bring, obviously, platform 5 into contention. And again, if we can get it to stay straight and level, I'd be happy. It just makes everything a lot easier when you're bringing them together. And again, let's have this run out, and we'll go for a higher speed here, 100 miles an hour on that little curve. And what we want this to do, in fact, we'll leave that for now. I'll do these two first of all. So, disregarding platform 5, we need to be able to get onto all the other platforms, so we can get to platform 4. And then as we leave platform 4, we need to be able to get onto the southbound track right here, which is quite simply achieved by putting a crossing point over here. 70 miles an hour, that's great. We need to be able to get over to platforms 3, 2 and 1. And what we'll do is put another crossing point here. And again, I'm intentionally avoiding the use of diamonds for this. So we'll have a cross point there. And then immediately after, we'll bring another track out to there. And do we have space to squeeze this connection in? I don't think we're going to. So we'll just push that back just a little. Maybe not as far as that though, maybe to about there. And from that catenary mast, we'll go there. So ignoring this one for the time being, as I said, we can now get onto platform 4, 3, 2 and 1. And as we depart, you are already on, yep, you can get onto the southbound track on the left, as can you, and as can you. Great. Obviously the exception here is this main line. And what we're going to do is actually have that mainline track serve as the actual track that is outbound. And what I'll do to achieve this is bring another parallel track down here. So these will be one way, and you'll see what I mean when we get to the signals section of all of this. So you two come down there, and then what we want is these guys to come over and join together like that. A little slow there, maybe just push that back just a touch. That's, yeah, that's more acceptable. It's at least 50. And then bring this one out here like so. And now we're out onto the actual stretch of connecting track. And this means all the local services, what are going to be using the remaining platforms 1 through 4, they get out of the way up here, and then they do all their own thing where they might have to wait to cross over and the rest of it out of the way of the main line. At least that's the theory behind it. We shall see if it works. So what we have to do now is bring this guy over to Dunstable, of course, and hopefully we can get over there. I can see our tracks terminate round about there. So I think we're going to have a pretty aggressive turn here. But if we keep the actual length of the corner fairly short, it does mean we're able then to recoup that lost speed in theory before and after this tight bend. So essentially what I'm doing there is getting the speed loss out of the way and almost limiting the damage really. How's that? That's pretty good. 177 there is more than good enough. And then we can connect that over like so. And in theory everything's ready to get. I don't know actually, it looks a bit weird, doesn't it? That tight turn. Yeah, I'm not too pleased with that on balance, so let's just remodel that. In fact, how far? Let's push, yeah. Let's push back to about there. There we go. Give ourselves ever so slightly more space to work with. It's not a great deal more space, but it might be all the difference. Even if we only squeeze us out an extra couple of miles per hour, it's going to be worthwhile, I think. So let's go back as far as that. And just out of curiosity, let's see how the game would handle that in terms of speeds. Oh, that's much better. Yeah, we've even got higher speed there, 107. And it just looks a lot more, I won't say natural because it's a train line, it's certainly not part of nature, but you know what I mean, it just looks, yeah, that looks better. A much gentler approach into Wigan. Yeah, that's great. Right then, so now we can do our signals. So what we want is, we first of all want to restart the game now that we've finished what we need to do over in Wigan. Just going to very quickly smooth off some of the uneven terrain around this station just to make it look the part. There we go, that's a lot better. Yeah, that's fine. And then we want to put these gantries on, don't we? Now these all need to be bi-directional this time, as we just mentioned, because, well, our trains are going to be switching direction on the platform here. So they all want to be this way, so we don't need any reverse at this time. The main line, I guess you can't just have a... could we get... Now the mid-span, it has to go over a... In fact, could we do this? Let's have a look. No, that won't work at all. Let's see if we can demolish that gantry there. That's just hovering menacingly over our station. I'm sure we can. Where's the hitbox for it? Come on, you've got to be there somewhere. Whoops, that's a house. Ah. Well, this is awkward, isn't it? We can't get rid of the floating gantry. Suppose what we can do is use the asset eraser on a small setting. There we go. That's much easier. I don't know why I didn't think of that sooner. Anyway, so let's put our signals on. As I said, these do need to function as bi-directional signals as they leave. As we've just figured out, we can't have one on a gantry here, so we'll have to use a standard lamppost signal for this. So what we want to do now is just put some signals to control everything as it leaves and goes through this myriad of mess that we've created. Like this. So let's also then have another signal there. And let's use a 3 aspect there. And I'm going to change these two to a 3 aspect as well. Whoops, I put 2 signals there. Let's just delete that first one. That's better. And we'll leave this for the time being. I think this now can be one way, this little bit here. Yes, I think it can. Yes, it can. Yep, so what we'll do is we'll have... Let's use this one way up to there. Can that be one way as well? No, because we might have stuff coming down this way. Okay, so yeah, that has to stay as 2 directional. So that's all one way, that's fine. And what's this one is... Yeah, that's fine. So we want another signal right here. And that can be one way, and that just controls everything on approach into the station. And then we want... Let's use this fellow. right here for when it rejoins onto the main line. And then for the main line itself, let's have this as the waiting point. If there's already the platform occupied, they can wait there. And for departure, I don't think I'm going to put a signal on this bit here, and this station signal can control it all, because then as soon as we've gone past this signal right here, it reserves this entire block for the mainline train until they clear this switch. And that means all the commuter services are the ones that might have to wait around, and our mainline will get that priority reservation. So from here on out then, it's just a simple case of putting in blocking signals along the rest of the track. So let's just quickly take care of that, and as I've tended to do lately, we are just going to mix and match these signal styles along here, just so we have that variety on the cab rides, and not every single signal is a carbon copy of everything else. We keep it nice and varied, and it just keeps it interesting. So we're now getting close to Dunstable. We already have our signals in for Dunstable. So the last thing we need to do then to get this up and running is actually amend the main line itself. So let's go here, manage the line. So we start now at Wigan, and as I said, we want to be on platform 5. And after Wigan we come into Dunstable. And we've got the northbound, southbound platform set up right here. So then Dunstable to Poole to Lowestoft all the way down to Hull. And then Thurrock, Euston, Carlisle, Lowestoft, Poole. And after Poole, finally Dunstable, before then returning to Wigan. Wonderful. Okay, so that's sorted. That's all we needed to do. Far, far, far simpler than this build actually ended up being, so that's great to see. I think the last thing we'll do today is put a couple of bus services in, one in Wigan and one in Dunstable. I didn't do it last time out, because as you can see, we've got pretty good coverage actually in Dunstable, but it could be better. It could always be better. So we'll start by just using the bog standard, very simple bus stops around the town. So we'll put one there. Come out this way, we'll have one here. We probably want another road across here, so let's do that. And then have our buses come up this way, along here, call in there, cover all this area, a stop there, and then we head down this way, and then we're back at the station. So new line, colour scheme, let's go for green, and let's just loop it all the way around like this. Oh, we missed a stop. There we go. Right. Why do that when you can come out down here? Okay, waypoint it is, and let's use a pillar box. There we go. So back to the line manager. After South Street, come that way. I see. Okay, right. What we might have to do then is remove that waypoint, and I hope this will work, but I think if we set our waypoint further back, the bus will have time to cross over or move into the other lane, so it can turn and make a left here. Let's just see if that actually does work as I think it should. No. Right. Let's give him one more just there. And let's see, this time will he do it? No, you still do that. Now that's... yeah, I don't like it when it does that. It just doesn't look right. I suppose what we could do to try and mitigate how odd it looks is put a road down here, and then they're going to go that way. That looks better, and over time we can always fill in another bus stop down here. Yeah, that'll have to do for now. That's one of the the annoyances or the little, what's the word I'm looking for? Little features, shall we say, of the game that can sometimes cause ever so slight frustration. It doesn't really make a difference, but it just looks untidy. And if you don't really care how your line looks aesthetically, then it doesn't really bother you, I suppose. But no, I don't like it when they do that weird thing there. Anyway, let's buy some buses. So this is a bus that we did unlock, but we did check it and obviously missed it because unfortunately the recording didn't work. And I made the determination that we're going to stick with the space bus because while this has got much higher speed, it does have much lower capacity. And for your inner city buses, I think capacity is more important than speed anyway. So we're going to stick with the Citroen space bus. And we'll start with 4. Colour them and assign them. Oh, we need to name the line as well, so let's do that. So this is the Dunstable Bus Loop 01. Okay, so that's Dunstable. Now for Wigan, I think over here we might use maybe one of these bus and tram terminals. And we pop it right at the end here. If we can get it lined up nicely. Does that look about right? Maybe that. There, yeah, that's it. Maybe should have made it longer. Let's try that again. Delete that. Back into here. Let's have 1980, 40 meters, and just one terminal for now. Station sign? Yeah. Lighting? Yeah. Let's treat ourselves to some lights. And does that look about... yeah, it'll do. There we go. So that's our bus station for Wigan. Let's just rename it because it's not really central, is it? Let's just call it Wigan Station. And then as we depart Wigan Station, the bus stop of course, not the train station, we just do a very, very standard, simple loop around the town. There we go. As I keep saying, these bus services, these loops, they very much are just placeholders. And I think in the next episode or 2 we will start revisiting some of our bigger towns and reworking our internal passenger systems, aka just putting better bus services down rather than just bog standard basic loops. Anyway, we'll use that pink colour because why not? And this will be the Wigan Bus Loop 01. So once again we'll use the Citroen Space Bus. Let's have the depot just there. And what did we say, 4? Yeah, we'll go 4. Colour them pink and assign them to the line. And there we go. So we've got our main line completely finished from north to south now. We can now get passengers from Hull all the way up to Wigan should they so desire, calling at Dunstable, Poole, Lowestoft, Carlisle, Thurrock and finally Hull. So let's take a cab ride, shall we? It's been about half an hour. It's what we tend to aim for, and look at that good timing. The Kylie Brooks has just left Wigan, so we'll hop on board. Make sure we pause the date, of course, get on board, and we'll have a ride. I don't know how far we'll go. We'll certainly go as far as Poole, potentially even Lowestoft, but we shall see. So thanks for watching, I hope you've enjoyed the episode. As always, a very special shout out to my Patreon supporters, who can now, if I've got everything working correctly of course, enjoy this video completely ad-free. For now though, ladies and gentlemen, all that remains for me to say is, as always, take very good care of yourselves. It is ta-ta for now.